On Overdrive this week, it's an audio-visual delight of Porsche sports cars at the Buddh International Circuit. We chat with Mercedes-Benz India's CEO about the latest AMG GT63 models launched in the country and bid goodbye to a legendary Japanese Grand Tourer, the Nissan GT-R. Hello and welcome to Overdrive. I am Sohini. The thrill of driving a Porsche 911 GTS hybrid, a Cayman GT4 RS and the Taycan Turbo GT on an F1 track is incomparable. Or that's what Tuhin Guha has been telling me after he spent some quality time behind the wheels of Porsche at the Buddh International Circuit in Greater Noida at the Porsche Track Experience. Here's that story.
Now, if you are watching Overdrive, a day like this is probably very high up on your bucket list. We're at the Porsche World Show 2025 at the Buddh International Circuit, and it's pretty much a playground of everything Porsche. We're driving the GT4 RS and this new hybrid 911 GTS on track. The Taycan GT is right over there. We're doing 0 to 100 runs in that. We also have the Carrera S just here as it is. We're driving the Cayenne off-road, and we're also driving the Spider RS around a slalom course. There's a lot happening, so let's see how this day unfolds for us today. Now what I'm doing is driving the fastest Porsche there is. It's the Taycan Turbo GT 0 to 100 in 2.2 seconds. I'm trying the launch control here. It does well over 1100 PS. Now this is without launch control, because when I put on launch control I probably won't be able to speak to you, but this is how it is.
Okay, so now if it's sport class mode, perfect, left foot on the brake, full acceleration.
This is the launch control. Oh my god!
Full brake. You can bring the camera home.
Feels like your guts are churning right inside you. Before we get to the 911s, we had to revisit the 718 Cayman GT4 RS, which I think is one of Porsche's all-time greats. You notice that edgy mid-engine sense immediately. It turns sharp, feels agile, and has that tendency to rotate that mid-engine cars do so well. The effect is that you push harder than you think you can, where the GT4 RS seems to come alive even more. It dances around corners with an ease 911s don't manage. The grip is just enough to let you fling it into a turn at great speed, notice as the car settles under you, and then let that glorious engine and PDK do the rest. This 4-litre naturally aspirated motor may not be the most potent on paper, but it is as emphatic as engines get. It's responsive like engines no longer are, eating through its 9000 RPM redline every chance it gets. The great bit is that there's no let up. The tune changes to every twitch of your foot, and you always seem to be on the money wherever you are in the power band. Now this new generation 911 GTS is a hybrid, but it's a hybrid in the way only Porsche can make hybrids, because there's really no way to tell when you drive it, when you look at it, or any other way. Because what they've done is they've put in an electric turbocharger with the engine and another electric motor with the PDK. That means 541 PS and 610 Newton meters. But more importantly, it's massively quick. 0 to 100 is in 3 seconds and top speed is over 310 kilometers an hour. There's no real way to tell, first of all, that this is a hybrid. You still can turn in like this, as you can see. Sharp, agile, like how you want a 911 to be. As you just heard, it's got like a 7,500 RPM red line. I mean, I don't know of another hybrid which has that, and as you can see, it's loud. And the great thing about it is that despite all the tech, all the hybrid stuff that's going on, the electric turbocharger, it's still hissing and puffing like a proper turbocharged, old school kind of engine, like I said before. So it's probably one of the more engaging hybrid cars I've ever driven. There's much less understeer than in the base Carrera. It turns in sharp, and while you can't quite keep up with the RSs of the world, you will keep them more than honest on the straights. Needless to say, the magical Porsche ride helps on a bumpy surface like the Buddh International Circuit. you stay stuck on. The GTS doesn't feel as disturbed as the Carrera, and that steering feels just as direct and precise as you might want. You don't notice any lag. It feels turbocharged, but not in the sense, I mean, you have this big volume of power, but there's really no lag. There's no interruption in the power delivery, which is amazing. And then you have that darty, agile feel that you want from a 911. It's always moving around as soon as you get on the power. So it just feels really connected. Aside from the 911s, we also drove the car in GTS on an off-road course. A V8 Porsche SUV on the rough stuff is quite a unique experience, but the GTS was surprisingly capable, especially on the steep hill descent course. The Spider RS is effectively the open-top version of the GT4 RS, but despite the roof lopped off, it didn't seem any less agile and sharp than the hardtop version. Now after the GTS, I'm now driving the, if you can call it base 911, the Carrera. But of course, by any other standard, this is not a base car. It still makes close to 400 horsepower, or maybe even a bit more than that. But yeah, after having driven the GTS, and we did get a spin in the GT4 RS, I wanted to show you really badly the GT3 RS, but sadly, for some reason, we can't drive it. It's a big bummer, but anyway, as you can see, this is not like, this is still a car that you have to treat with a lot of respect. It sounds great, again, not as good as the GTS, and definitely not as wild as the naturally aspirated RS models that we've been driving. But it can keep up with all these big guns. The Carrera still has 394 PS and 410 Nm, so it's a logical step up from a fast sedan. But you still have that distinct 911 driving character. You find that it needs your attention towards the rear. There's still that close connection to what's happening around you and that flat 6 soundtrack. Yes, after the GTS, you find that the sharp edge is missing, so there is a touch more softness and a bit more managing of speed to keep the nose in check. But serious drivers will enjoy working around this and maybe even use these traits to go faster. But maybe you feel that this car is a bit better suited for maybe everyday conditions. After these really powerful machines that we've driven, this feels very easy to drive, very usable, very much like, say, a fast German sedan, for want of a better comparison. So yeah, which again is one of the facets of the 911, is how easy it is to drive. So if you are new to, say, driving sports cars, then maybe this could be the perfect one for you. The Porsche World Roadshow was a heady day filled with adrenaline, excitement and joy. If you like your cars, especially your Porsches, find a way to get to one any way you can.
Sports cars are a different breed of beast, right? So much fun they are. Mercedes-Benz India has just launched 2 AMG coupes in India, India's very first right-hand drive coupes, coming up shortly after this break. This is the all-new Mercedes-AMG GT63 4MATIC Plus. It brings together brutal V8 power, everyday comfort and Formula One inspired tech in one stunning package. We're going to look at what this car has to offer and chat with Santosh Iyer, CEO of Mercedes-Benz India. Stay tuned for that. Up front, it's everything you expect from an AMG: aggressive, purposeful and dripping with attitude. The Panamericana grille, that long muscular bonnet and the sharp aero detailing don't just look the part, they play the part. This is actually the first AMG in India to feature active underbody aerodynamics. Once you're past 100 km per hour, it generates a Venturi effect, essentially sucking the nose of the car down to the tarmac for better grip and sharper high-speed stability. From the side, it still carries that classic GT silhouette. Long nose, short tail, but make no mistake, this thing's hiding a supercar under the skin. It's its low on 21-inch AMG wheels, gets rear axle steering and a wider track, all of which translates to serious corner carving ability. What really makes it special though is the suspension. AMG's active ride control replaces old school anti-roll bars with a high-tech hydraulic system. It reacts in milliseconds to keep the car flat and composed, whether you're attacking a corner or cruising on the highway. Around the back, it's just as dramatic. The adaptive rear spoiler moves through 5 positions depending on your speed and drive mode, while the quad exhausts, well, let's just say, they don't whisper. Under the hood is pure AMG magic, a 4-litre twin-turbo V8 handcrafted by a single technician. It makes 585 horsepower, 800 Nm of torque and launches from 0 to 100 kmph in just 3.2 seconds. And yes, each engine gets a signature plaque because this isn't mass production, it's craftsmanship. Inside, it's equal parts cockpit and luxury lounge. You get AMG-specific displays, 5 layout styles, and the full-fat track-based telemetry system if you're chasing lap times. And here's something rare for a car like this: actual rear seats. They're small, sure, but usable, especially for kids or short trips. It's a reminder that GT isn't just for the track, it's built to be lived with. You've also got 6 AMG Dynamic Select modes from Slippery to Sport Plus and even full-on race. There's a drift mode too if you ever feel like turning all that grip into glorious oversteer. So yes, it looks stunning and sounds even better. But the GT63 is more than just a pretty face. It's a fully engineered F1-inspired V8-powered missile, and it's finally here. Santosh, thank you so much for joining us on Overdrive and on CNBC-TV18 today. My first question to you is, how are the 2 models that have launched in the country today, how do they fit into the portfolio of high-performance vehicles that you already have? And, especially in terms of the top-end vehicle strategy.
Sorry, thanks for joining us for the launch. So, if I go back now, almost a decade back, the first car in this family was the SLS AMG, the iconic Gullwig design. And I still remember when we got this into India, the question was, do we have enough enthusiasts? I think we have come a long way. AMG is a brand for performance driving in India now, very synonymous. A lot of customers have not only bought the SLS, we have also one on display right here, the 10-year-old Gullwing. But even post that, we launched the GT, the Night series, and we can see a lot of customers not only buying these cars, but using it on the tracks on a private basis. Some customers are even making their own tracks in India now to enjoy these cars. Not only our brand, but to enjoy other performance cars as well. But also using it on the public roads, because I think over this last decade, the road infrastructure in India has also increased, so you can also take them out and enjoy it. Today's launch, we have 2 versions. We have the 63, which is at around 3 crores. It's a classic 4-seater coupe. On the other side, we have a very track-focused Pro, which is a 2-seater and much more on the track than maybe on the roads. But these cars are versatile enough. A lot of Formula 1 based technologies, what we do has been getting into this car. So I think it takes the performance driving to the next level for the enthusiasts. And interestingly, even before we are launching today, our hardcore customer base, they're already in touch with our teams. So we have almost more than 10 customers who have already booked these cars.
That was going to be my next question about the allocation of these models in India. And I wanted to also ask you, of course, it seems like the demand has outpaced the supply.
Yeah, so right now, these cars we start delivering in end of this quarter 4, basically end of the year. And then we are also open for new orders and new bookings because these have life cycles that just been launched. And the car that I just shared was a left-hand drive car. So actually, we still don't have the right-hand drive version globally. And but we want to get in cars as early as possible to Indian customers. They also want the latest and they are not prepared to wait. So therefore, they are already launching the car, and by end of this year, they get the first right-hand drive cars being produced in the world in India.
So who are the intended customers for these 2 models? Are they already AMG customers, or are you also targeting some high net worth individuals to join into the AMG family?
Firstly, there is a growing breed of performance car driving enthusiasts. So we are also introducing and announcing today that we will be doing more track events and more driver trainings on tracks. So we want to get new customers into performance motoring. I would say, one of our customer took the GT Black Series last weekend in Natrax. And there were many cars, but I'm happy to say that the GTs just smoked them out clearly there. So I think there is a pedigree. It's a very small community of enthusiasts as well. So, but it's a growing pride. So surely the first go-to is our current base. of AMG lovers, but this price increases and surely these cars will also find owners into other competitors, customers, I would say, who would also now shift or would love to shift to an AMG.
And in the country, of course, electric and hybrids are taking over in terms of the high-end performance luxury market, right? So will we see a hybrid AMG GT63 in the future?
So a couple of these cars, have the hybrid technology as well because it definitely uses different powertrains. But let me go back 2 days back, we just unveiled now the GTXS concept in Affalterbach. More than 1000 horsepower, 0 to 100 in 2.1. It's actually, these cars are even going to hypercar territory and street legal as well. Right. So what electric offers is a very different spectrum of motoring, I would say track performance and also outside. But at the same time, there is hardcore combustion engine loyalists. They say, no, for me a sports car has to be a combustion engine. So for us as a brand, our responsibility is to offer option. So the same GT XX that we previewed is in electric. We have the GT and the GT Pro in combustion engine, 8 cylinders. So we will continue this path even in the future. And hybrid is again a powertrain which is there in many of our cars, which will also eventually find its way in some of these performance cars based on its lead state. So we are agnostic to that. Let the customers decide what is best for them.
So how much investment will go into just the AMG range in terms of, say, the retail, the portfolio, as well as the customer experiences?
So on the customer experience, there are two types of investments. One is the marketing investment, which is to do with SSD, track days, driver training programs. That would be, that's one set. Other are for product related investment or infra, like our dealers. So we just inaugurated an Iyer concept in Chennai, where customers can actually not only personalize the cars, but also have an in-depth discussion on some of the consultation, I would say, on these cars. So overall, in transforming our retail network, we are investing 450 crores in the next 2 years in our retail network to transform to more personalized and more luxury environment at our retail network.
Santosh, thank you so much for joining us today and thank you for your time.
Thanks a lot. Thank you. Pleasure.
Well, it's time to head into our final break here on the show, but don't go anywhere because on the other side, we farewell to the Nissan GT-R. A heartfelt tribute to the legendary Nissan GT-R. From the iconic R32 to the breathtaking GR34, the ferocious GT-R Nismo and the emotional T-Spec. This is more than just a love letter. It's a celebration of a car that has redefined performance, heritage and also passion. Join us as we relive unforgettable moments with this timeless masterpiece. Will the T-Spec mark the end of an era? Here's the Godzilla legend that will never be forgotten.
Dear GTR, there's something I want to say to you. In fact, something I want to read to you. I don't know how to say this, but I think I have loved you all my life. It all started with the R32. A video game was my first window into your world. The moment I drove you in pixels, I knew I had to experience you in reality. But nothing could have prepared me. For the first time, I saw an R34 in blue, standing still, yet taking my breath away. My knees felt weak. My heart raced. It was the first time I truly understood what it meant to fall in love with a machine. And then I finally got to drive you. It was everything I had imagined and more. A force of nature, a rolling piece of technology that made mere mortals like me feel like gods behind the wheel. 2015, Silverstone. I met your angrier self, the GT-R Nismo. They call you Godzilla, and I thought you would kill me that day. A scalpel-sharp instrument, brutal and fast, all at once. I remember thinking, how could something be so angry and yet be so beautiful? And you have aged rather well, very gracefully. A year later, the day before my wedding, I had another chance to drive you. It should have been the last thing on my mind, but I couldn't say no. I mean, who could? Even if it meant risking my happily ever after. Powering out of corners on those winding roads, racing from one toll to another. So much fun we had. I still get goosebumps thinking of it. I still get goosebumps every time you set a lap record at the Nürburgring. Even when I play a racing game, you are the first car I look for. And right now, at this very moment, I have a GTR scale model in my pocket. In the same color as you. Most of my scale model collection is GTRs. It's only natural because my love for you isn't just about speed. It's about your history, your heritage, and the feeling of being part of something timeless. I go to the Daikoku parking lot every time I'm in Japan and see hundreds of beautiful cars. But my eyes only search for you. I know, I'm in love with the Porsche 911 too. But GTR, you're different. You've always been. And here you are, with your warm heart beating away to glory as always. That transmission, still very opinionated, but it's usually right. And now I can see you have those big Nismo brakes. The color looks good. Those brakes suit you. Strong, confident, always knowing when to stop without ever going too far. But that T-Spec badge, that worries me, because this time I fear you're stopping for good. And now it's the end, the last hurrah, the swan song. The T-Spec could mean the final one. I don't know what the future holds for Nissan. I don't know if there will be another GTR. I can't imagine a world without you. But if this is truly goodbye, there's only one thing I can say to you. Please don't go.
Well, with that, it's a wrap on this week's edition of Overdrive. But remember, you can stay in touch with the team through our various social media platforms. You can write to us on Instagram as well as YouTube. We'll see you next week. Until then, goodbye. Many thanks for watching. Drive and ride safe.